morning is from 1 Peter chapter 3, 8 through 12. That's 1 Peter chapter 3, 8 through 12. To sum up, let all be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose then you might inherit a blessing. Let him who means to love life and see good days refrain his tongue from evil, and his lies from speaking guile. Let him turn away from evil and do good. Let him seek peace and pursue it. For the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears attend to their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil. And who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good?
It is a pleasure to be here, to see some of you folks again that I've met before and have to reintroduce myself. I talked to somebody about that this morning. I get that point in my life where I just have to admit it straight up front. Hey, what's your name? But it's really troubling when I do that with my own kids, though. But I just have to admit it sometimes that sometimes I just have to get a little memory boost from time to time. Bringing you greetings from the Kingsburg Church of Christ. If you're ever happen to be wandering out in the wilderness and it's a Sunday morning, you're certainly welcome to drop in on us and visit us there. Probably you are familiar with the Peanuts cartoons and the different versions or varieties of books that were released with those characters in it. One of those books was entitled Happiness Is. And then all the different versions of it and drawings of what perhaps I suppose Charles Schulz thought was his rendition of what happiness was. And a lot of them were really good. And it'd be interesting to go around the room and ask, if I would start with happiness is and point at you, you'd say what happiness is to you. We'd get quite a variety of responses, I'm pretty sure. One of the ones that you probably comes to mind is says, happiness is a warm puppy, that kind of thing. Maybe this morning you're thinking happiness is potluck Sunday. So I know my competition is pretty stiff, so I have to really keep them roll along here. But we think about that. It's something that is perhaps on our mind a lot about where we are emotionally. But what is probably one of the strongest instincts of any creature, any living creature, the strongest instinct is to self-preservation. This includes us, that we want to keep ourselves intact and make sure that we're doing well. But self-preservation is not an unnatural thing. In fact, it's very natural. The natural of a self-preservation that pulls us toward selfishness. It is what draws someone in with unbridled to a mindset that is one that's very selfish. You think about that and how it begins. Who would you say is the most selfish person there is? That would be a little bitty baby. There's only one person on their mind. It's just a little bitty baby, And the only thing that they're thinking about is, am I hungry? That's a problem. Am I tired? That's a problem. And there's a list you can make of the things that they announce to you that there's a problem here and I need your attention. But we note that if unselfishness were natural, it wouldn't be so uncommon for there to be unselfishness. It wouldn't be so extraordinary or noteworthy if it was a natural course for people to be unselfish. So we know from that it requires some discipline and some growth and some determination to overcome self look and focus on others. The sobering thing about selfishness is this, is that it will not only separate us from God, but from the happiness that is in this life. We just heard from 1 Peter chapter 3. Those who desire to love life and see good days, and he names these things off right there. So we think about, well, happiness will come one day when we're in eternity, and that's true. But what Peter is saying here is that you can enjoy happiness along the way as you go, but there are some things to watch out for that are going to prevent you from having that happiness, and he names them there. So it'd be good to take a close look at that and examine ourselves by these things and see whether or not our happiness compass, if you want to think of it that way, is tuned properly. There are some words that we're familiar with from our founding documents for this country. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, I think that we could probably define, if we went around the room and define what life is, and perhaps you could give me your idea of what liberty is. Well, what about happiness? What is that? There is not only difficulty in defining it, but few seem to actually get their hands on it. You look around, it just seems like there's a lot of unhappy people around. So what's the problem with that? Why is it seemingly so evasive? What are some of the possible causes? Well, one of them is people are looking for their happiness. That's one of the problems. I'll kind of bore into that a little bit more here. Understanding that happiness is not a goal. It's not a goal, but it's a way of life, enjoyed as you go through life. A man years ago says it's just like you're going down the path, and it's the berries that you pick from the bush as you pass through life, and you eat them as you go. That's the happiness. You enjoy it as you go. When we realize that it is self that keeps us from happiness the most, that's ourselves that stands in the way the most, if we understand it, we have a much better chance of actually touching happiness if we understand who's standing in the way. Many people will ask the question, and I kind of already mentioned this, somebody will ask the question, how can I be happy? Well, step one, don't ask that question. That's the first thing you do. Don't ask that. So, where do you go from there? Remember these things. First of all, we're not home yet, are we? We're not home yet. Everything here is temporary. This isn't it. We are looking forward to be completely happy when we are with Christ. A place where the word goodbye has been abolished. There's no more goodbyes. Also, our purpose here is not the pursuit of happiness here. Boy, can we look around and see that happening. If you're on any kind of social media platform, which it's just there's a lot bad there, isn't there? There's some good uses for those tools to be able to contact people or to interact with people and so forth. But there's a lot of sad people out there who are pursuing their happiness by amassing how many friends and likes and reposts and all that stuff that are out there. And they think that is what's going to bring them happiness. But probably the bigger that number gets, the sadder they are. And it's inversely proportional. And I say those things because that side of our life can become a very serious distraction to what God has put before us to pursue. Our purpose is to conduct ourselves that we stand holy and blameless before God. That verse was alluded to this morning in Ephesians chapter 1. That we are to stand holy and blameless before God. The scheme of redemption, as has been you've been looking into, it all has to do with being able to stand before Him, holy and blameless. You say, well, how do we stand before Him, holy and blameless? Do you not know that as many of you as have been baptized into Christ have clothed yourself with Christ? That's how you stand before God, holy and blameless, confidently. We boldly come to the throne, because He has given us this condition. This is a daily effort. Jesus said in Luke chapter 9, He said, anyone who comes after me must deny himself. That's part of the happiness part, isn't it? Take up his cross daily. Well, it's a daily decision. You have to decide today. When Paul was talking about those who were saying that there was no resurrection, he is countering with, well, then why am I doing all of this? Why am I doing all these things? Why did I fight with these beasts in Ephesus? I die daily. He contends with himself every single day. When we do this, we can enjoy the contentment and happiness that comes from pleasing God. But we must do what Paul did. We press on. We have to press on. We enjoy happiness when we give thanks. Let me give you some things to give. There's a long, long list you can probably create. Here's some things as far as what we can be thankful for. That our needs are richly supplied. Think about it. We sing the song, Count Your Many Blessings. Do we is it just a song? Then after the last notes of that song die away, we go on with our worries and concerns? Or do we think, you know what? I need to stop doing that and do more of this, counting those blessings and considering just how richly blessed I am in so many ways. Just in having one another is a blessing that many people do not enjoy. Here's one, that Jesus Christ died for me. That's an amazing one right there. Just that by itself. You think about all of the history of mankind, and that single act means everything to everyone, everywhere, at all times. What power. And you get to be a part of that. That God loves me. Even me. Ever think of it that way? You say, well, I can see Him loving a lot of people. No, make it personal. He loves you. He knows who you are, and He loves you. When He looks down, He sees you. He knows you. He can count the hairs on your head. That's knowing somebody pretty well. Why would He bother make that much effort if He didn't care about you? That should bring some happiness to us. Bearing these things in mind will encourage us to press on to that eternal blessing that has been promised to us. We have been promised. As was noted this morning in class again, that all of God's promises, every time He makes a promise, He keeps it. And He promised us these things as well. Jesus taught consideration for each other, especially to love our enemies. And by the way, if you hadn't noticed, that's not natural. That's not the natural course. Look around you. Look at the angst and the fighting that's going on around the world. Enemy against enemy. And Jesus said, I've called you something better and something higher and something that will bring you peace when you do it. We see in Matthew chapter 5, we won't read this, but I'll make reference to it. There's a couple of passages that I do want to read. One's in Colossians 3. You can turn there in advance of where we meet this morning before I get there. Matthew 5, verses 1 through 12, we refer to as the Beatitudes. And all the things that are mentioned there start out with the words, blessed is the man. That word blessed could also be translated as happy or fortunate. You take it, do some deeper digging into what Jesus was trying to say through those things that He was pointing to them, to have the right mindset that He intends for people to have. And it was completely upside down from what everybody else was thinking was right. He said, I've got some news for you. Listen to what I have to say. You want happiness? Listen to this. Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 through 2 says this. If then you have been raised up with Christ, keep seeking the things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on the things that are on earth. This is the formula. He's pointing us in a direction. Don't let the things of this world drag you down, distract you, or rob you of your happiness. Again, in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21 says, do not lay up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, or thieves and where thieves do not break in or steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Do we take that to heart? If we pursue our happiness here, the result is shallow and temporary. It's tempting because it's right in front of us, but we are being called to look beyond this life and the things that we can actually see and touch. He said, there is something so much better waiting for you if you'll just trust me. Pursue the happiness of God, that God intended. It will never fade away. It can't. There's a line from a song that goes like this. Joy is the flag that has flown from the castle of the heart when the king is in residence. When you know who is ruling you, it makes all the difference in the world. And this will bring you contentment and happiness. We don't get happiness for ourselves. God is the one who gives us the happiness. James 4 and verse 10 says, humble yourselves, therefore, in the presence of the Lord, and he will exalt you. True happiness is from God. We will walk in his way. He will not withhold it from us. I want to refer to a song that you have in your songbook. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's number 636. We're not going to sing it. I'm just going to read it to you as the poem that probably it originally was. I want you to think about these words, and at the conclusion of these words, the lesson will be yours this morning. Number 636 is to love someone more dearly. To love someone more dearly every day, to help a wandering child to find his way, to ponder o'er a noble thought and pray, to smile when evening falls. This is my task. To follow truth when as blind men long for light, to do my best from dawn of day till night, to keep my heart fit for his holy sight, and answer when he calls. This is my task. And when my Savior by and by to meet, when faith hath made her task on earth complete, and lay my homage at the Master's feet, within the jasper walls, this crowns my task. I hope that your pursuit of happiness will be a godly one and fruitful, and one that you can certainly enjoy along the way. I pray that you'll think about these things as we sing the song.